Just recently, my friend Saloni Srivastava, she made an amazing video about how much she spends in a day in Bangalore. That got me inspired. So I thought, let's do this too. I kept track of all of my costs when I went to Pondicherry. So let's see how much it really costs to travel, in this case, in India. Let's start out with something that you will always need, the transportation. I looked at different options to get to Pondicherry from Bangalore. You can go there by plane, by train, or by bus. And the bus goes during the day, but also during the night. The biggest downside of flights or train travel for me were that you first had to go to Chennai and then take another car or a bus that would take 3 hours to get to Pondicherry. So I was like, nah, we need a direct transportation method, and it also turned out to be the cheapest one. So I spent 530 rupees on the bus from Bangalore to Pondicherry. That was a really nice bus, but on my way back from Pondicherry to Bangalore, I actually booked a luxury bus, which was only 700 rupees, but the quality was so much better. So if I can give you a recommendation, if you're traveling during the day, the lower class bus is better. It's not a lower class bus, trust me. It's a good bus. You can watch all the review videos down in the description below. I've linked all the Pondicherry videos. But that luxury bus, if you're traveling at night, totally 10 worth it to spend 170 rupees extra on that. I booked both of the buses on Make My Trip. In Pondicherry, obviously you also have to get around, and there are also various options for that. Uber is just recently introduced, and unfortunately you can only get an outstation, which will cost you, I think, 800 rupees. I don't know if that is for the day. I think it is. I think that would be 800 rupees for the day. You can also rent a car. That would be around 1,000 rupees for the day. But because I was by myself and had nobody to split those costs with, I decided to go for the scooty option. So I rented a scooter. It was 300 rupees a day. I didn't even bargain. I think I could have definitely gotten it for 100 rupees less, but I thought it was a very good price. So I thought, you know what, my friend, you make 100 rupees extra today and tomorrow, because I rented it for 2 days. So the scooty rent was 600 rupees in total. But the thing that you have to keep in mind, and those are kind of like the hidden costs, are that you have to top up the fuel yourself. So I paid 200 rupees extra for that. The total costs for 2 days of scooty rent, including the fuel, were 800 rupees, which I think is a pretty good price, but you might also not be very comfortable on driving a scooty, especially Pondicherry traffic can be crazy. So you might consider renting a bicycle, an actual bicycle. And if you're a Dutchie like me, I don't think you would have issues with that. Just don't ride around on a bicycle in the middle of the day, because that will be too hot. Go before 12 noon or after 4 p.m. I think that would be a cheaper option, but I didn't inform about the bicycle prices. You would have to do that locally. When you got your transportation covered, obviously the next thing that you have to take care of is, where are you going to sleep? There are definitely super cheap places in Pondicherry where you can sleep. There are also some luxury places, not that many, I have to say. And the costs are all very reasonable, very average for a touristy Indian town. I think the cheapest option that I've seen on booking.com was for a hostel, and it would have cost me, I think, somewhere around 10 euros. However, I don't like to stay in hostels whenever I don't have to. Sometimes it's an adventure, but also because I have to work and I get up early and I need my sleep, hostels are not my first choice of accommodation. So for this trip, I chose something in between. I stayed in a 3-star hotel, which was absolutely amazing. You can see a tour of my room in the How to Travel Pondicherry video. I've linked that down in the description below as well. That one cost me 2,220 rupees in the end, but this is with a lot of discounts. That was definitely not the regular price of the place. I booked this one on Make My Trip, and there was this whole like membership thing where you have to pay like 400 or 500 rupees, and then you get like cashbacks and more discounts on the accommodation. I would definitely recommend you to compare various accommodation apps. I use booking.com a lot, I use WeGo a lot, I use Make My Trip a lot, and I just check which one has the cheapest deal. Now, my biggest spending. And you have to take into account that traveling and eating is basically my work. But at the same time, I have to be really honest, it is my work because I'm also very passionate about it. And if I want to, I can eat a lot. Some of you were asking me when you were watching the Pondicherry food videos, did you eat all of that by yourself? Well, if I wasn't with Arpit, yes, I did eat everything by myself. I can eat a lot whenever I want to. I don't need to, but I can. So I think I spent a lot on food, a lot more than the average person, but I still want to give you an impression. So the first day I went to breakfast at Baker Street, which is a famous Pondicherry French bakery, and I ordered everything. So that's why I also paid 530 rupees just by myself. I have to also admit they didn't accept cards above 300 rupees, but then I got carried away ordering food and it turned out to be 530 rupees. And for foreigners, 530 rupees will not be a lot, especially if you see how much food I ordered. But I do know in India, for one person, for one meal, that is definitely on the higher end. So in the evening, I decided to compensate and I just had a dosa and some idlis. That only cost me 140 rupees. So that's a lot less. The same goes for the next days. You see that I spent quite a lot of money on breakfast. But this was for 2 people, by the way. The second day, 500 rupees because I was having breakfast with Arpit and he was so kind to show me around. So I thought, well, the least I can do is buy the guy breakfast. If I can, I will try to have at least one meal of the day in my room because I just enjoy that. When you travel a lot, at one point it gets really tedious to constantly be eating out in restaurants and those kind of things. Sometimes you just want your privacy and you want to chillax and you want to enjoy a meal in your pajamas. So after I took a nap on day 2, I ordered biryani for lunch and that only cost me 100 rupees. On day 2, Arpit and I also went to dinners and for 2 people that was really cheap. Like even compared to Bangalore, that was extremely cheap. That was 250 rupees for 2 people and we had so much food. That was a mad value for a money meal. Then breakfast on day 3, I was only having breakfast by myself, so you can definitely see that the costs are cut in half, and that was only 230 rupees, including a drink, including a tea. But then it dawned on me that I was leaving Pondicherry. So I had to have all of the food that I wouldn't be able to eat in Bangalore anymore. That's why I ordered a very, very lavish lunch for 420 rupees just by myself. I told you, it's also my work. I have to make videos about food. Well, I don't have to. I just really, really enjoy it. So, I also use that as an excuse to spend a lot more money on food than people would normally do. On day 3, before I was leaving, I just wanted to have something simple so I would know 100% for sure that my stomach wouldn't get upset during the bus trip. So I went for a couple of idlis. I went for double portions of idlis and it only cost me how much? 120 rupees. Obviously, while you're roaming around, sometimes you will want to have a drink or have some coffee. So with Arpit, I had some iced teas at Art Cafe. I have to say Art Cafe is a little bit overrated. Although it is cute, I feel there are definitely cuter places in Bangalore that wouldn't charge you that much for drinks. And when I say that much for drinks, this was, I think, 170 rupees, which is still not that much, especially compared to Bangalore. But for Pondicherry standards, when you look at my next expense, I had coffee for 50 rupees in a really cute cafe. Oh, Arpit and I also had some ice cream and that was 160 rupees. So if you are traveling Pondicherry on a budget, there are definitely ways to save so much more money on food than I spent on it. When traveling, there are always going to be some unexpected costs, so I always keep a post for miscellaneous. For me, it was buying a hat, a sun hat at an arts and crafts market that I definitely did not plan on buying, but it was only 200 rupees and it was such good quality that I thought, you know what, I need to take this because if you compare the prices of these hats at H&M or Zara or something, it will be a lot more. I also bought 2 books that I came across from Dale Carnegie, and again it was 150 rupees per book, which is an incredible price. I think it's a copy book, but at the same time I feel 150 rupees for this wisdom is just such a cheap price that I had to take it with me. So that's 300 rupees for 2 books. And in the end, I ended up spending how much? 210 rupees on donations. If you are going to a beautiful place like the Matri Mandir and they are giving you that whole experience for free, you have to give at least some kind of donation up to your means. Obviously, if you cannot afford it, you cannot afford it, but if you can afford it, I feel like it's kind of like a gratitude thing. So I made a donation to Matri Mandir, to a church, a beautiful church which was so beautiful, pastel and pastel blue. Concluding, the total cost for my Pondicherry trip were which is mad value for money. I feel definitely Pondicherry is on the cheaper end if you consider travel through whole of India. I could spend this money in one day in Mumbai, but Pondicherry, there's so much to see, there's so much to eat, there's so much to do, and it doesn't cost that much. If you would like to go to Pondicherry, I hope I've given you a good impression on how much money you should save. Like I said, I'm kind of like in the middle of budgets. You could definitely do this for, I think you should be able to do it for like 3,000, 4,000 rupees, definitely. But obviously you could also spend a lot more if you like luxury. If you like the video, make sure to put a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of my videos, there's a big trip coming up in May. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.